So what's up guys, I was planning on starting this video series where I will tell you basically what is my approach to starting with full planche, because right now I've been improving a lot on my planche journey, taking from straddle planche up to full planche and taking straddle planche to some wide grips. So this video series plans on showing you a little bit of what I'm doing to approach these final steps of the progression and start mastering finally the planche. And just for you to know guys, in my personal workout plan I have some days where I do combinations and where I approach the planche in a more intense way. For example, I could do like full planche attempts in the beginning of the routine. There are other days that are mainly focused on gaining basic specific strength, like today could be. So today we'll be starting our workout with some half leg planche, with some presses with some negatives, and then we'll approach the full planche with banded holds. What's up guys, so this is me from my bedroom because I got a bit ashamed of talking in the park. So now I'm gonna do a couple comments on the exercises I did that day. I will just comment specifically how did I feel during the training, the things I did during the training and the outcomes of it. So first of all, I did my warm-up, my usual warm-up. Just some elastic band movements, including for my rotator cuffs, for my shoulders, for my biceps, for my forearms, and also a bit of mobility in my legs, even though I didn't record that. But that's also important because in each training I do some one-arm handstand, and for the one-arm handstand it's very important that your legs are properly warmed up and have the correct mobility and flexibility. And when I finish this basic warm-up, I like doing a couple handstand push-ups just to check out how my shoulders are going to perform that day. I do a couple of normal handstand push-ups, a couple of deep handstand push-ups, so I can see how strong I am that day basically. And then I proceed with a couple one-arm handstands, as you'll be checking them right now. And basically I change a bit on the forms I'm doing. So I do just normal straddle one-arm handstand, I also do Buddha one-arm handstand, and some full one-arm handstand. This last one is quite more complicated, and it's only in the last month that I've been getting used to it, and I've been getting some decent holds on it. But I still have to get some more control, because right now, as I said, I control only the straddle one and maybe the Buddha one, but the full one is still only just 3-4 second holds and not more longer holds for the moment. And then to the final test for my strength for that day, what I basically do is a tuck press in planche. So this tuck press helps me to gauge how strong my shoulders are, but this time not when I flex my elbows, but in a straight arm position that's very specific for the planche, and it's going to give me a really good measure of the explosivity I'm going to have for the next presses of the workout. And now let's go with the first series of the training. As you can see, it's a half leg planche, press and negative. So in the press, a thing that always happens for me is that the first negative requires a bit more of proprioception because it's the first time you do it on the day. So what you should do before performing your first set, if it's a press and you don't have a very big control on the presses, it could be doing like one rep with band, so you can position well your hips, position well your elbows, and then just go for the no banded rep afterwards. And as you can see, then in the negative it becomes quite complicated because after the press you're very tired, but that's the idea behind these type of exercises. And the idea is basically getting very good in the negative because you're doing it when you're fatigued. As you can check, I am over inclinating a bit on the negative. Like I could inclinate a little bit less, but in this case it's not relevant because the activation is correct and the shoulder position, everything is correct, so there's no problem with that. So let's go with the second rep, and in this case the proprioception in the positive is a little bit better, but then the negative, you can see that I'm tired and maintaining the protraction is a bit difficult on that, but to be honest I'm happy with the series, so that's okay. Let's go with the following one. So this one is the final rep, and the press, I'm very happy with it, even though I tend to open my legs a little bit, and I think that even when I get to the full planche, these kind of things are going to still happen. Like you want to press so hard that you end up opening your legs a little bit, because that makes it a little bit easier to go up. But in the end, all the activation is correct, the hips are correct, the shoulders are correct, so there's no problem with that. And then in the negative, you can really check that I'm tired. So this is definitely the last rep of this exercise. And right now we're going to the banded holds, but this case with a full planche. So this was my very first banded hold of the full planche, because this approach is a new thing I introduced last week when I recorded this training. And to be honest, I'm very happy with it. This week I've already improved a lot on these banded holds, but this is a thing you'll check in the following videos of this series. But yeah, I'm really happy with this one. And now I will also perform a negative. And what I do in this negative is basically start on straddle position, because if I don't do that, the band is going to slip off my hips. So I just start in straddle position. I know there are other ways of positioning your band so it doesn't slip off, but I think they are not comfortable at all, and then the band tends to get away a lot of your weight. So I think this is the best way to do it. And as you can see, the form was pretty decent, so I'm really happy with it. I know I have to adapt a little bit, but in a couple of weeks you'll see the next episode and you'll check that the adaptations have been made for sure. And now I tried just a half leg hold, and this half leg hold, as you can see, I'm a bit tired, so it didn't have the best form. But I think it's some specific work that it's always beneficial. So, and then I went for some straddle presses. I have to say that if I'm fresh, I can rep these straddle presses. I can do 2 reps, or I think I could even do 3 reps. But having already done some half lay and some full planche with band, this is impossible for me, so I just do 1 rep. And in the next episodes, be sure that I will try to do a couple reps of this straddle press. But for now it's just 1 repetition. And as always, the press is kind of good, and then in the negative, as I'm already tired from the press, it's kind of more difficult, you know, so I do what I can, but I think this is what you have to do if you want to build your endurance. And now the second straddle per repetition, I'm really happy with the form of the positive, but then again the negative, I'm already very tired, so it was kind of difficult, and I didn't manage to stop it right in the point I should have stopped it. But as I said, this is just things you want to do if you want to increase resistance. And a thing I've been trying lately is just to open a bit my grip in the straddle planche, and I'm approaching this wider grip from the negative, because I feel that personally the negatives suit me very well, better than just a simple hold. So I'm doing this negative with 3 feet, and I know this isn't much of an aperture. I mean, it's not a lot, it's not even a wide planche, but it's a start for this process. You have to check that my hips are still a little bit up, but the objective is to fix them and finally get them to the right position, just accumulating more volume of this kind of wide hold. And in the second rep, I managed to go with my hips a little bit lower, but still I didn't manage to get that perfect position. But still, I know that in a couple of weeks I get a better adaptation and I managed to fix my hips position. And now the end of the training is approaching, and I do a couple straddle holds. These straddle holds are focused a bit on the protraction, so I just do what I can with the protraction that's left at this height of the workout. So I just aim for 3 seconds and that's it. And then to wrap up the workout, I do a couple combos, and these combos are very simple, are just 1 arm handstand and then into a straddle negative. I try to vary a bit the form of the 1 arm handstand. For example, I try to do both straddle and Buddha and maybe some other kind of positions. So this way, in the end of the workout, I make sure I can still hold the 1 arm handstand, and this is very useful for you to master this position. Finally, I did a band set, and this band set was just to check on proprioception, because sometimes you tend to miss a bit the point when you don't use bands and just focus on strength. You just forget about the form and do everything with strength, and that's not a good approach also. So you have to keep in mind that bands are very useful to fix your form and to get some specific workouting for the progressions that you cannot do for the moment without the bands. So that's very important. And in this case, I used the band to do a press, but making sure that my hips and shoulders were in the right positions. Then I did a couple basics. This is a thing I tend to do in the end for my workouts. I don't think it's really necessary, because if you have this basic strength, if you already have your muscles and tendons well suited for the movement, you don't have to work out a lot on the basics. But just in case, I also like the feeling in the end of the workouts, like you get the pump. So just a couple of handstand push-ups, 90-degree push-ups and some dips, and that's basically the end of the workout. So guys, I hope you have enjoyed these kind of videos. If you have enjoyed them, leave a like and tell me in the comments if you wanted me to do more, because I could also do this with front lever basically. Right now in the front lever and get into the pull up to touch, so that could also be a possibility for this kind of series. And if you've enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and see you in the next one. Ciao ciao.